Hi, everybody. Well, wasn't that an amazing Pink Tartan show? How much do we love this woman and the wonderful things that she sends down her runways. Kim, it's such a pleasure. It's such an honor. I've really had the chance to get even more up close and personal with Kim this past year on the shopping channel. One incredible thing about the way you put yourself out there, we'll talk about your level of creativity when it comes to the garments in just a minute. But in terms of the way that you market, I think that is so extraordinary. You have such a brand awareness, and you've built your brand into something so meaningful for such a wide cross-section of women. And part of that has to do with the way that you retail, because you understand the value of having your own magnificent boutique, which you do in the heart of Yorkdale. You're in the pop-up shop here, of course. You're on the shopping channel. You're at a variety of stores across the country and outside our borders as well. What is it that you really keep in mind first and foremost when it comes to putting your brand out there and the way you put your brand out there?
Well, I'm a big lover of personal style, and I think style is a message. And it's about building your wardrobe. So it's really about being experimental, pushing your own boundaries, and getting up and getting dressed and feeling good every day. So my mantra is runway to real life. Like, I love runway, but it's like, how am I gonna wear it? So I kind of bridge, pushing it a little bit, but making it understandable so that we can all get dressed in the morning.
Well, it's wonderful that you managed to reach such a wide cross-section of women, too, because you have a lot of the socialites, a lot of the working gals, young and old alike, because it knows no bounds in terms of the demographic. But getting the product out there to the people, talking about retailing and the importance of that, how much time do you spend worrying about, how the stuff is going to get out there distribution-wise?
Well, the most important thing when you're in retail is that you sell it. So you don't have a business unless you get people to sign up for your brand. And I've been very fortunate that a lot of women, once they get into my brand, really love it. So it's one step at a time. And I tell you, the retail world is brutal.
The fashion world, I think, is pretty brutal. I'll certainly as a veteran of the scene, boy. Now, it's been a few years for you, too. I mean, not nearly as many as it's been for me, but what would you say you've really gleaned from the past few years in the business that's really helped you get your message across in ways that resonate with women as strongly as it does?
Well, for me, I can't be afraid. I can't be afraid of what people are going to say when I put something down the runway. I just have to be pushing it where I feel comfortable. And I think it's always that risk reward. You take a little bit of a risk, like a calculated risk. I really start with the foundation of the garment, which is the most important thing to me because it has to fit a body. And I have the luxury of being a woman that wears the clothes. So I know exactly on where to put the seam, how it should fit. And I'm very, very involved at every step of it's like my children.
I love the fact that there's so much play with silhouette. This collection in particular, where you have things that are so beautifully tailored, like razor sharp tailoring, very sleek and very, very modern and very direct. And then you've got the romance as well, and the voluminous pants, and just the flow of some of the garments that you put out there, the volume of a ball skirt, for example. How do you go back and forth? How do you decide?
Well, it's really about the balance of the silhouette. So if you notice I do a full skirt, I usually put a nice slim tailored top because I like when there's that juxtaposition, and I like masculine and feminine. So I do play on that a lot. I like a little bit of tailoring, I like a little bit of strength, but I also love a little femininity. So you'll really see the balance when I'm designing.
Your fabrications have always been sublime, the quality of your fabrications, just the way they feel, let alone the way they look. A little bit of play with print, but a lot of velvets, a lot brocade in this collection that was just gorgeous. Is that where some of the ideas come from when you're at the fabric fairs?
They all start with the fabric. So I don't actually put anything into design until I select the fabrics. And I select quite a few, and then you test them. I try things. I might just do a little mini skirt in it just to see how it tailors. And once I love a fabric, I start designing into it.
You certainly are one of the strongest brands out there on the Canadian landscape these days, and one that is very revered and adored. What's the secret to getting a great brand out there? And I know you've had some pretty interesting mentors, including your own gorgeous husband, Joe, who really obviously must have taught you a thing or two. What can others trying to make their mark in this country, in the scene, glean from you?
Well, I have to say, one of my qualities, whether it's a quality or a fault, is being stubborn. And it's really, this industry is about just keeping the course and being stubborn about making sure I get what everything is to the standard I want it to be. I think having a brand is, this is just an extension of me. So I truly put my heart and soul into it.
Putting on a runway show, obviously not an easy thing, and I know you're so detail oriented. That's one of the magical things about what you do and about your message. But the work inherent in that, a lot of designers just say, oh, why bother? We don't even want to send stuff down a runway anymore. Yet for you, I think you like the idea of runway. Tell me why.
Well, I love the energy it creates, and I like the fantasy part of it. I like pushing it and being a little bit fantastical. I do think that it's a way to it's like performance art. So I feel like going to a fashion show, it's such a good feeling. It's like you get a lot of energy from it, and hopefully you found a trend or two that you like, that you feel like, oh, that works for me, and I'm going to put that into my wardrobe.
We're in this gorgeous mall, and what a spectacular place it is. I mean, it's just overwhelming. I can't believe I started my career in fashion, not really started my career in fashion. My first fashion job was at this very mall back in 1968.
Mine too. Was it? Yeah, I worked retail when I was in college. I went to fashion school, and this is where I worked part-time.
Where?
I worked at a little store called Mannequin, which was filled with Canadian designers.
How cool. Okay, I worked for Fairweathers myself, but boy, we both come a long way, baby. When it comes to shopping, there's so many different ways of shopping now. I mean, this is something that we touched on earlier. You've got this great idea of a pop-up shop. They're the big department stores, and your beautiful things are featured prominently at several department stores. Shopping at home, on television, shopping online. What do you veer to?
Well, do you know what I really love? I think the most important thing is the consistency through all of the channels, whether it's bricks and mortar, e-commerce, or on television. I think that, it's really about how you treat your customer. What are you giving your customer, and what is she coming to you for, and how does she trust you? I think that that's the most important thing about really building a client versus a customer. And what we aim at Pink Tartan to do is to really build our clientele so she trusts us. And she trusts me to give her what's new for the season, that she'll be completely appropriately dressed, and then how to build her wardrobe, because everything that I do this season works with what you had last season, just updates it.
It just seems like such a whirlwind. I mean, I know your lifestyle. You're constantly traveling, constantly on a plane, yet you have a gorgeous home, a wonderful family life. You've got a daughter that you're very close
Teenager
to.
Now.
Tell us about that juggling act that you managed to perform so well.
Well, there's a lot of talk about balance, and I think for me, it's not really a balance. It's really about prioritizing. And then you just put your best foot forward, and I try and give 110% to everything I do. They have different moments, but it all works in the long run.
Well, you do it all with such great aplomb. Once again, a fabulous collection, Kim.
Thank
and
you.
A pleasure to see you, as always.
Always great to see you.
One of our brilliantly shining stars, Kim Newport-Mimran of Pink Tartan. Thank you.
Thank you.